or some little thing, or meet with the artists or writers sometime. But day-to-day involvement in what they really do, telling them what to do or telling them not to do it, I have nothing to do with that at all. We're just good friends, and I hope we remain that way.
With so many superhero movies nowadays, do you think the industry is becoming inundated and there will eventually that will pop and we'll see no more superhero movies for like a long time?
Absolutely not. Put that man on report. Okay, they're gonna get bigger and bigger.
And four. Oh wait, I always break the fourth one, so I forgot.
Okay, well, thank you.
By the way, I'm sorry. If the crowd's okay with it, and if you're okay with it,
We're not okay with it.
Hold on.
We're probably
we
not
all
okay
like
with
to
it.
see the Merc and the Man together.
All right, get right where the mic so I can hear you. First step. Hello there, young man. What's your question for Mr. B?
All right. What led you to the creations of Marvel Comics?
Greed. No, actually, I had a job. I was working for the company. I wanted to keep my job so I'd be able to pay the rent. And my publisher said, I want you to dream up some new characters. He would have fired me. So I dreamed them up. I mean, that's what you do when a publisher says so. That was it. I can lie, but why do that? You're too important to me for me to lie.
Stan, thank you for
What are
coming
you
out.
looking at me for? You gotta look over there. The next You're welcome. Thank you for being here to thank me for coming.
The original tagline for Spider-Man was "The hero could be you," and when the movie was released in 2002, one of the taglines was "The world needs a hero." I wanted to ask you, when you were creating the original Marvel characters, did you look at the world or the landscape of superheroes and say, this is something that the world needs?
No. But it was something I needed to keep my job. No, I forget the order, but I think we had already done the Fantastic Four. I don't know, maybe the Hulk or the X-Men, and my publisher said, come up with something. You want to do, you just think of what hasn't been done and you pick that. No, it wasn't a spider. I saw a fly crawling on the wall, and I thought, gee, that would be a great superpower for somebody if they could crawl on walls like an insect. So I figured I would do that, and then I figured, well, I need a name for him. So I thought Insect Man didn't sound dramatic. Fly Man, yeah. Mosquito Man. And then I got to Spider-Man. It makes you tingle all over. So I thought of that, but I really wasn't thinking of how he would affect the world or how the world would affect him. I was just thinking, I hope I can write a good enough story and the book will sell. I'll tell you a story about that. So I came to my publisher and I said, I got this great idea. I want to do a teenage hero. There hasn't been any yet. I want him to have a lot of personal problems, and I want to call him Spider-Man. My publisher said to me, this was the darkest moment in my life. My publisher said to me, that is the worst idea I've ever had. He said, first of all, you can't call a hero Spider-Man because people hate spiders. He said, you can't make him a teenager. A teenager can only be a sidekick. And you can't let him have personal problems. Don't you know what a superhero is? So I walked out of the office with my tail between my legs. And a little bit later, we had a magazine that we were killing called Amazing Fantasy. Now, when you kill a magazine, nobody cares what you put in the last issue, because you're killing it. That's the last issue. Who cares? So to get it out of my system, I put Spider-Man in the last issue of Amazing Fantasy. I feature on the cover, and I forgot about it. About a month or two later, after all the sales figures came in for the magazines, my publisher called me, and he said, hey, Stan, do you remember that Spider-Man character of yours that we both liked so much? Why don't we do a series? Because he found out that had been the best-selling book of the month for us, the one that featured Spidey on the cover. And I'm sorry I gave you such a long-winded answer. I tend to Thank you, sir. But you learned a little bit of history.
Hello? Should I ask my question? Is there a super that you wished you could have created?
Yeah, I wish I had.
Thank you.
Tell you a funny thing about Superman. I'll tell you about Thor, then I'll tell you about Superman. But you're wondering, what has Thor? That's the way you talk to an audience. I have always maintained that Marvel Comics has stories that are scientifically accurate, whereas our competition doesn't. Now here's why. According to them, Superman can fly. We've seen Superman fly. He's like this. But he has no visible means of propulsion. What's making him fly? The original concept was he came from a planet where the gravity was much heavier, so here on Earth he could jump over a tall building. I can accept that, but how does he fly? Now we get to Thor to show you how scientifically accurate. Thor has a hammer with a leather thong that he wraps around his wrist. When Thor wants to fly, remember scientific accuracy, he twirls the hammer like a propeller. Lets it go. The hammer goes flying off. Who's attached to the hammer? I rest my case.
Mr. Lee, I just wanted to say I grew up in 70s and 80s, read Stan's soapbox every issue that I could. I only sent one fan letter out when I was a kid, and it was to you. You're the reason I'm a teacher. You're the reason for so many things that I've done in my life, and this is the best one right here. I just wanted to say thanks.
Well, I can hear you. You're very welcome. You did it all.
I've noticed that the X-Men host a variety of diverse. I want to know if you would consider this intentional, and would you consider yourself a social advocate?
Something about the X-Men. If you think it's good, I did it intentionally. No,
Best
I
answer.
wanted them to be diverse. The whole underlying principle of the X-Men was to try to be an anti-bigotry story, to show that there's good in every person, every person. So it was intentional, yes.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
I'm sure over the years you've gotten a lot of the same questions over and over. Has there ever been a time where you sat back thinking and thought, I wonder why nobody ever asks me about...
No, I've never said I wish somebody would ask me about anything in particular. I do get asked a lot of the same questions. I want to commend all of you because nobody yet has asked me who's my favorite superhero. That's one I usually get asked. And I don't have a favorite, but everybody expects me to say Spider-Man. So I lie and I say Spider-Man. That takes care of that question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
I was just wondering, what are your views on Andrew Garfield's request to make Spider-Man bisexual and Mary Jane male in an upcoming Spider-Man film?
Has he got a very deep voice or is that the microphone?
A bit of both, maybe.
Oh, I think Andy Garfield is great as Spider-Man. Absolutely great. In fact, I would have picked him for the first Spider-Man movie if he had volunteered.
Yeah, I mean, he's requesting that Spider-Man become bisexual.
He's becoming bisexual? Spider-Man? Who have you been talking to? I don't know, seriously, I don't know anything about that. And if it's true, I'm going to make a couple of phone calls. I figure one sex is enough for anybody.
Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to say this is a real fan since I'm a child. I've been on the comic books through Rogue, one of the female X-Men, and that's how. And then from there on, it's been like an addiction. But this is one big serious question for me. The reason why I'm here and stuff like this because of you. I drove all the way over here to come here, and I've been inspired to do comics, and I'm kind of struggling at that. I'm an artist. I draw pictures and stuff, and I'm trying to get into the comic book industry as an artist of covers and stuff, and I wanted your advice on that.
Toughest question I can answer. If you want to get into the comic book business as a writer, it's very difficult because the business has become so big and so glamorous to people. Professional writers are now writing comics. People who have done best-selling books, people who have written movies, they're now writing comics. So if you want to get in as a writer, you've got a hell of a lot of competition.
Not writer, as an artist. Artist.
Okay, as an artist, it's easier. No, it's actually as tough as hell. But as an artist, at least you have a chance. You see, a writer can't show an editor 1,000 pages he's typed and said, here, read these, you'll see I'm a good writer, because the editor doesn't have time. But an artist can show a drawing or two, and in a minute, in a second, the art director will know if this guy is good or not. It's easy to tell by looking at artwork. The only thing that makes it not so easy, they only hire artists who are as good or better than the artists they already have. Because why hire somebody who is as good as the guys you have? So in order to become an artist in the comic book business, you've got to be as good as the guys already in the business, or perhaps every so often they're looking for an intern or somebody to hang around and just make little touch-ups in the artwork. And they might hire you for that, and little by little you practice and you get better and you show the editor. But it all depends on having art samples that are so good that they knock the editor's eyes out. Because otherwise, he's got all the artists he needs. We have some of the greatest artists in the world drawing for Marvel now. And it's a very tough business to get into. It was much easier. When I was there, they'd hire anybody because nobody thought it was that important. But now they realize every book might turn out to be a movie worth billions of dollars, so they are very particular. That wasn't very funny, was it? That was very and disquieting and a little bit depressing.
Hi, Stan. My question to you has to do with your history as a comic book creator. You're considered by many to be the father of a lot of the most popular characters in comic books. But I want to know if there were any characters that you were particularly excited about during your brainstorming process that never really made it too far off the page, that never really took off with the general public.
Were there any characters I was excited about? What?
Any that stick out in your mind especially?
You know, this may sound, and I don't want it to sound that way, as if I'm bragging. But every character we did became a hit. I think the public was just desperate for stories. I mean, we started with the FF, and then again, I don't know the exact order, but the Hulk, and Spider-Man, and Daredevil, and Sergeant Fury, and then S.H.I.E.L.D., which was taken from Sergeant Fury, and then there was Iron Man, and then there was Doctor Strange, and the Silver Surfer. They all became, we didn't have one superhero that we ever did that didn't work out, or that didn't last. Now that I think of it, I don't know how it happened, but that's it.
Well, if there's anyone who's got a right to brag, it's you. Thank you so much.